My name is Timothy, and this is TA Garage. Well, we're back on the Daytona. Trying to get the camera to act right. Something about being over here it does not like. I did a lot of cleaning to the shop. Got it pretty well cleaned out. Kind of had to get a little bit of a fresh start with all that metal and stuff. Most of the metal work is done, at least the big part of it. Now what I got going on is I'm going to lower the back, raise the front, put it on jack stands, put it all the way down on those orange ones I got. One, I can't really do a lot more metal work because my air compressor went out, and I got to wait until I get another electric motor for it. Got one coming in, but it'll be a little bit. So I'm going to do a little bit while off at work, a couple hours a day. Moving on through the process. I like to get it kind of leveled out. I know I'm going to have to pull the hood off. I can do some engine bay work. I got to do some work on the firewall. I need to pull this windshield out because it's there and it's no good. I want to go ahead and pull the dash out so I can do some more firewall and prepping and everything. Get ready to pull that shifter out and convert this thing over to a 4-speed, which also involves me mocking it up because I want to put it in correctly as far as shifter mounts and everything. And I need to put the Z-bar bracket. Yeah, I think there's a bracket on the firewall I need to do. I got a transmission housing, bell housing I plan on using, and the actual numbers matching block, but it is going to serve as a mock-up block. I got to put mounts on it. And once we get it in the air, we'll do that. Set that in with the engine hoist or probably the engine hoist because I can mount it a little bit easier maybe, give or take. We'll see how that works, or a tow truck, one of the two. That way I can start getting that all ready. And once I get the air compressor fixed, I start doing a little bit of cutting and stuff because I have the smaller cutting wheels. Fix the roof area and start actually moving forward with this. That and kind of get it up in the air and start working under it and getting some things tidied up and getting it going. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jack this back end up. I got a 404 this time instead of a pry bar. And get it raised up, lower it back down, and raise up the front.
Porch light flicker on the siding, moths dancing like they know the tune. Porch light flicker on the siding, moths dancing like they know the tune. Every breath feels borrowed, but tonight the world's in tune. Old chair hums beneath me, plank boards keep the time. Old chair hums beneath me, plank boards keep the time. If this sound ain't perfect, that's how it's mine. Someone left the radio humming low next door. Someone left the radio humming low next door. Static sings the harmony. I couldn't ask for more. Light burn uneven, let the shadows play. Yeah, the porch light burn uneven, keep the night from drifting away. If this ain't heaven, it'll do for today.
Alright, so doing some thinking, just to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to pull this whole nose section off. One, because I need to mock up the block, the transmission housing, and the bell housing all together. Set in the car, figure out where to put the 4-speed hump at, where it weights correctly. With this big nose on it, I can't use the engine hoist whatsoever. And still using the tow truck, which is going to come off anyways. If I do it now, I'm not wasting any time doing it. I like to take it off in one big section at the moment. I think it's just a row of bolts up top, and there's a matching row underneath. Then you got the 4 bumper bolts that go into the frame. They go into these channel brackets, and then there's 3 on each side on this lower belly pan here, underneath the nose. Get you adjusted. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, down here, there's a seam here with 2 pieces where the blue and the green is on the inside, and I think there's 3 on each side, and then I can just pull the whole pan off, or the nose. Then at that point, it's just like a regular 6-knot charger, except for this is actually welded onto this. Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull the nose off if I can figure out how. So yeah, get doing that. Which I gotta pull it off anyways, and that'll just make this go by a little bit easier. Me crawling in and out, I can actually crawl through the radiator support. So yeah. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. Which is not all there either. I'm still missing a couple pieces. I just got this mocked up to put it in one piece. It needs quite a bit of work, but if you ever wondered, basically a Daytona 70 front charger, so that way the front lip looks like this instead of an actual front end that actually shows. This hides behind, for example, 70 charger bumper. Same thing as the nose. You'd have a rubber seal that goes around, and that sits inside that. You got these C-channel brackets. These are homemade. I do have a reproduction of the originals. They're supposed to be way stronger than these. Basically bolt onto this. These are your Z-braces, and they are basically your structure of your front nose. That little square there is part of the Z bracket. That is part of your turn signal. Your turn signals on these are actually inside the grill. So basically when you look at, here, let me get my light. There, maybe you guys can see a little bit better. Basically if you look through here, you have that hole, then you got those two square ones, but it's behind that big, or that rectangle one. That, what you're looking at, is all this car has to breathe from to cool a 26-inch radiator off. That's why these cars are bad on cooling. Superbirds, I believe they opened that up a little bit and pulled the nose up higher so it's able to pull a little bit more air through. And there's also a bracket that bolts. Can't remember if it bolts to these or if it bolts to these somehow. And it runs across here. And I believe it also bolts to this. I have that, just not on this. The nose has got this lip that's busted off. I have one of those, and it mounts to the top of this. Another thing, when you look over here, you got these. These have pop-up headlights, like a best example I can think of is a Corvette. You know, those typical fiberglass body Corvettes, and they have the pop-up ones. It's like that, and it's a big metal box that mounts inside here. And that's what those pop up on. You have the actual 69 Charger actuator, vacuum operated actuators, and that raises it up. I do have them, just not on here. Again, I was just piecing this together. Still needs quite a bit of work. I was wrong about how many bolts were there. Yeah, there's 5 on each side, so there's 10 bolts on this bottom. You can see a couple of those little rib nuts, I guess what they call them. That's where the spoiler goes. I'll have to add a couple more. And there's a bunch of rubber pieces that go in here and that seals all this kind of up more. I think the wheel wells, I believe, are actually empty. I may end up rigging a piece of plastic or something, and I don't know. May not. Just kind of a road, helping the road and water not hitting the lights and stuff. May build like a guard around the lights or something. Yeah. Basically, they just designed it and bolted it onto the front. And basically, you can unbolt the whole assembly like that. So it's not too bad. But I need that out of my way, so that way I can get into this engine bay easier, finish cleaning it up, and I can put the engine in easier. Or at least the block. These are 70 Charger fenders that I modified. So I've had to cut the dog legs off, and I welded up the marker lights. Dog legs, there was a piece of metal that came down here and it kicked down because the valence didn't go all the way back like that, so you had to basically flatten it out. These were not perfect 70 Charger fenders. This one was wrecked. The headlight bucket was totally trashed. Yeah, this one was alright, but it had a little bit of rot there, so we'll blame it on that. You have to cut the headlight buckets out for the headlight buckets in there, I believe, for them to fit correctly. Other than that, they're about pretty much the exact same thing. The hoods. Yes, it is just, while I'm, taking apart, I want to mention, if you didn't know about this, the hoods are technically different on a Daytona. They are technically the same, but there is one difference. Well, 2, technically. So, 70 Charger hood is different from a 68 and 69 because you have that wraparound grill. 69 Charger hood would have had a curve that nosed off. Like a typical hood, it would nose off and that'd be your front end. Same thing with the front fenders. You'd have a showing front and it wouldn't just be kind of a straight edge. So yes, a 70 Charger hood's pretty much the same, but there is one noticeable difference. Does absolutely nothing that I'm aware of. So if you look on the back of the hood, you'll notice it a little bit easier when the hood's on. But when you're looking down it, there is a dimple here. It is a dimple that they put in the hood from this ridge, and it dimples in. There's two of them. There's one here, and there's a copying one on the other side. Kind of notice a little bit back here. It'll kind of ramp here. Yeah, you see it better on camera. Those two dimples are special to a true 69 Daytona hood. So that's how I know that is the actual correct hood. For sure. Or at least it's close enough. It's the right color and it has the Daytona markings. So I know that. But yeah, that was one thing we were looking for the hood. We found a 70 Charger hood, and I researched that, and it had those two dimples on it. And that was specifically for a Daytona because it was a very early version of a 70 Charger. Same thing with the fenders. They wouldn't have had the headlight buckets in them yet because they were a very early 70. 69 still had the other style. 70 they were moving over, but they were like, hey, we can use those fenders. And that's what they did with them. So the fenders are actually very, very close. The hood's pretty much the same except for those two little dimples. And I think that's just a stamping difference from a very, very early on version. There's a possibility, I guess, that's very early on 70 Charger could have the same type of hood. But I do not was one little noticeable difference. Alright, so I need to figure out where to put that nose now. I may just stick it in the back over there, potentially. I need to finish pulling all the stuff off the front. Mainly the brake lines. I got new brake lines. These are still probably honestly good. But I am changing over to the disc brake setup. And I'm going to go ahead and replace them. I have this bracket, so that one can probably go. Unless that one actually looks better than the other one. As far as the bracket goes. Voltage regulator can come off. I need to pull the dash out. Eventually the gas line's got to come out. I guess I can go ahead and pull that. That way it's just out of my way. I got a new gas line for a return to the tank because it will help with fuel vapor. I'm hoping. And fuel vapor lock. So I am putting a return on that. Not technically original, but I'm just trying to help this car out as much as I possibly can on heat. Especially for this trip. Cooling is going to be a definite issue, but hopefully I can do enough to it. This is going to be a power brake car, but I really want to try these 4 piston calipers out. Later today I need to bust that open and wash them out. See if I can get them kind of set and cleaned. Yeah, kind of a little bit of me rambling and thinking, but definitely need to get the dash pulled out, but I'm waiting for some more help. My dad had a short time to help me pull the hood off. Did get the steering column out. Missing one bolt, and the pin was missing on the end, and somebody had siliconed the steering column in. Want to pull the gas pedal out, just so that way I can paint underneath on the inside, just to keep it from rusting out from underneath it, because that is a typical spot they like to rot out. So if I can prevent that, I'd like to do that. Pull what's left of the insulation out. I don't even know what's even holding it in there. Oh, there's one peg right there. Oh, might be another one over here too. Okay. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna move on to pulling the rest of this stuff out on the inside and getting this nose moved. So yeah, let me get that done real quick. Time is 10:43. So yeah, by the time I get all that stuff done, wife may be down here with some food, and maybe she can help me pull that dash out. maybe when my dad gets back again, we can pull that door off. One, so I ain't got to constantly open that one because there's no handle and stuff. I could just put a handle on it, but because I need to change it out eventually, and it'll just make it easier getting in and out of. I need to leave this one on, but I got to cover up the door panel because I don't feel like pulling all that off. I'm gonna vacuum this up real quick while I got a chance. Wouldn't hurt. All right, well, I'm gonna do all that, and yeah, just kind of wanted to show you guys the nose because it's not a common thing. It's kind of real neat. It's basically a giant pointy thing they put on the front of the car. So yeah. And again, this was a 69 Charger that they took from the factory, and they sent it to Creative Industries. That's the one I couldn't remember. They were like the secondary company that put the nose on. I'm not sure how they did the fenders. The fenders may have came from the factory that way. I don't entirely know about that. I think they actually took the other fenders off, put these on to weld the other stuff on that they had to convert to. Which they didn't have to pull the motor out or nothing. And yeah. Creative Industries. They're the ones who technically built the Daytona. They got the factory 69 Charger RT and then put this on it. So yeah. I'll get back to you if something interesting happens, and or just an update. Alright. So I got pretty much kind of waiting on my wife. She's coming bringing me some food here in a little bit, I figure. Went ahead and pulled this molding off that goes up in here that holds the seal. And the other one had the strip rail molding and around here. That way when I do body filler on the quarter and stuff, and I can redo this seam that's all cracked up here, I can pull that apart. Be a lot better than damaging the molding. I don't prefer not to do that. I may have a little bit better pieces, but I want to get it pulled off so that way I don't have to worry about damaging it. Yeah, I'll wait until after we eat. We'll pull the dash and I'll finish pulling the brake pedal. I'll pull that anyways. I'll take pictures of the bracketry, pull the windshield wipers out, the parking brake. That insulation, I gotta dig it out. I gotta pull the parking brake because the spring's bad on it, so it don't return. Pedal I need to pull out because of the 4-speed swap. Dash comes out because it'd be easy to mess with the firewall. Looks like they welded a patch there, so I'll have to. I'm probably going to end up welding it a little bit better because they just overlapped it. And it's already kind of rusting, so I need to fix that. Which will be easier once the dash is out. And I can get all that stuff out without ruining the dash pad. Get the floor cut. And I got to change that bracket to a different one for the 4-speed. That'll be probably in this process too. When Dad gets back, we'll try to pull this door, I think. I don't know. I may try to pull the glass out first. I don't know. I don't have to have the door out right now. Yeah. The inside hopefully will start turning around pretty quick. Let's get the dash out and clean up around the windshield frame area, get this all cleaned up, painted, and sealed. And if I gotta fix some rust, I'll fix some rust. I do have some window clips for the front. I'll probably end up using them. Maybe. Depends if these are a lot better or not. There's some down here. Like that one. I just broke. So, yeah, I'll be replacing some of them. I got to do some research. I'm not sure exactly how this was. But instead of the little molding that goes along here that goes in the clips and then goes up here, Daytona's had a special big molding piece that covered this entire area. And I'm not exactly for sure how they mount. I'm pretty sure it goes up underneath this piece that goes in here for that seal. That's why there wasn't hardly any screws there. And I think there's a couple screws that run here, maybe? I really don't remember. It was a bunch of screws that held that thing on. I know that. I think that's also the reason why the windshield is cracked, because they found where not to put it. So I have to do a little bit of research on that. I'm not sure if the molding actually goes up underneath. I don't think it does. But yeah. Probably taking a little break. Maybe pedal around for a little bit and do a little bit more cleaning, get some of the stuff out of my way for the dash and figure out a place to put the dash too. But yeah. Slowly coming together. Oh, got the brake line and fuel line off. Alright. Well, just got done eating. Wife's finishing up eating. I'm going to see if I can get this block on the engine hoist. That way I can start putting the bell housing and this transmission case in the car. Main reason, I got to put motor mounts. I can do that when it's up in the air. Main reason I need to do that is to get, one, the exact spot for that bell crank. I know where it goes. I could weld it in and be fine, but I kind of want to get it the right angle and it kind of be proper if I can get it a little bit better. And figure out where I need to place the floor shift tunnel, which is an old used one. I have to clean that up and everything, but that'll tell me where I need for sure put the shifter at. I know it goes over the cross member, which I'm going to leave the floor section there, just so that way it don't, less chance of it rotting out the cross member instead of it falling in, and the rest of it cut out. And I will probably end up fully welding it in instead of stitch welding like they did. I'll probably actually fully weld it in and smooth it out. So that way when I work on it and everything, it's a lot nicer and it seals. And it strengthens up the floor where that foot pedal is. Because I do know this one does push down a little bit. But I want to get it kind of lined up, and that's just a block. And it's mainly all I need. Housing. And then the bell housing is the one I'm going to use, I believe. I need to put the ball stud on the end of it. That, and I got to figure out where I did with that bracket. That's a good question. But yeah, get that good. And then once in between that, pull the dash out. So yeah. And then I can pull this back out. Just trying to get the floor in there right. And also do the center console mount. Since I'm there, I'll have to cut the center console a little bit to go around the hump. And I'll have to cut it, which will be fine. Yeah. Get started on that. Alright, so I got the block and the transmission housing. I just got it sitting there. Just kind of a mock-up. This is my shifter mount for the car. I'll have to find the shifter. I got one I know I got some somewhere. I just got to figure out where I set it. But basically, so this transmission has two positions. I'm not using this one. The transmission I have won't have this one at all, which will give me more room in here, I guess. But the one I'm looking at is here. It's another pattern like that. And I'll have to cut my floor here. I know it's going to at least go up to the transmission tunnel. And as you can tell, I'm already hitting. So that's another room area that has to get cut for that reason. Yeah, all this got to get so that way the shifter can go right here, because it'll actually stick out pretty good ways and up. And that's what that low tunnel's for. So, but first I'm going to see if I can get this dash out, if Dad can help me. If not, I'll go see if I can find the shifter tunnel and stuff, or the shifter. And there's a couple other things I can do.
Magnolia town was humming, smoke lay on the ground. Yeah, Magnolia town was humming, smoke lay on the ground. In no face I recognize, and my baby can't be found. I left that place in summer, swore I'd be back by fall. I left that place in summer.
Alright, so I got the door off and the firewall all cleaned apart. Gonna go ahead and start on this transmission tunnel, kind of. One of the little problems here is one, this bracket's in the way, so I'm gonna cut that off, but I want to keep it, so I don't want to ruin it. I just have to cut the spot welds off. I'll eventually have to clean the welds off of this, but that kind of runs somewhere in that area. Like in there somewhere-ish. It goes down a little bit more. That bracket shouldn't be in the way. Yeah, it should be going in somewhere like that. I'll get that bracket out of the way, and then I'll clean up this piece. Clean it all up. Get it nice and flush. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to cut the bracket off and clean that up and get it kind of smoothed out. Figure out where it is, and I'll mark it. And I'll cut within and inside of that, except for where the frame rail runs across here. I'll leave that. That way it's covering it over. Yeah, that's what I'm going to get started on. Get that ready, pull the engine and stuff back out, and I'll start messing with the firewall that's been patched over there. Looks like they brazed it in, but we'll get more than that when I get started on it. So, yeah.
So I'd be back by fall. Now the porch is bare and broken, and her name's gone from the wall. Church bell moaning down on Beale Street side.
Alright, Alright, so I got the 4-speed tunnel kind of cut out. Got it all sanded down. This is an original piece. It does have the part number there. So it fits pretty good about in there with a little bit of massaging about and where it goes, and it looks about right where that mount is. And honestly, it's gonna kind of fit where it's gonna want to fit. So may not be exactly where I want it, but I want to make sure it's gonna work right. Got me a little bit of wiggle room where the tape line is. I'm actually gonna cut on the inside of that tape line. Except for up here, I might leave it around this more. That way I can keep that piece in. Actually gonna cut this mark and leave this covered because that's where the cross member crosses over. I do believe it is somewhere in here. So I'm gonna be kind of careful with cutting that area when I cut up. I may cut a little bit further this way, but that way this is still covering that cross member, and it'll still be good underneath. But yeah, it kind of fits in a good spot there. Seems to be pretty happy with it. Fits kind of nice and snug. So I will fully weld it in instead of kind of stitch welding it. That way it seals it up nicer, and when I go underneath, once I pull transmission out, I can sand underneath, and it would be you won't cut your hand on if you got to work on anything. I've done one like that, and it was a pain in the butt until I went back underneath there and grinded it all down. But it will actually strengthen the floor up too. It'll strengthen, especially where that pedal is. It won't sag down any. So yeah, I'm gonna get cutting that out kind of carefully. Maybe I can kind of cut it out in one piece. So yeah, I'm gonna get to cutting that out. I know a lot of people are gonna hate this, but I promise you, it's gonna make it so much better in this car. This ain't a perfect car, so I want to build it the way I want to.
Heard the church bell moaning down on Beale Street side. Sounded like forgiveness for the tears I try to hide. Now I'm sitting with this guitar, strings hum like they know. Yeah, sitting with this guitar, strings hum like they know. When love don't live no longer, that blues is all you own.
Well, that was the first time I ever had one of those happen to me. A flap disc, a little 3-inch one. Well, it blew up. Brand new, used it for 2 seconds, and it blew up in between my thighs and left 2 bruises. That hurt. Alright. So I got the console in. This is an automatic console. I got to put a bracket in that's going to hold it my height, but my 4-speed hump is in the way, so I got to cut that out. My thought process is, well, I was looking for my Sharpie. Where's it at? I need that. Once I find my Sharpie, I'll put the Sharpie on the inside and kind of line it out. Once I find that. Yeah, right here. What I'm going to do, since I'm already on this side. Oh, there's more of that disc. Oh. Just ain't got to be exactly perfect, but I would like to get it kind of close. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the line from the tunnel, putting the marker flat on the tunnel, and just marking across from front to back. And then I'm going to look up to see what the factory ones did real quick and get an idea. Whoops. And that will kind of help me figure out what I need to do here. All right, well, I didn't find any pictures, so I'm just going to kind of wing it and just kind of worm it on there. Cut it a little bit small and just keep cutting a little bit bigger. I think is the game plan. See if I find me some screws. All right. Got my camera on the charger, but I got it pretty well welded in. More than what the factory did. I will paint that and coat it pretty good. I do know I'm going to have to cut way more up there, but that's until I get the shifter and everything in. I do know that is an automatic plate. It's not for this. It's just the easiest one I can dig out right now. But basically, kind of got the curve, and it'll probably change some more whenever I get the carpet stuff in it. But I got the brackets kind of in line. If I need to, I can tap it around with a hammer. But yeah, probably gonna call it night, get something to eat, and take a break, rest, maybe edit a little bit, and then tomorrow probably pull the transmission and the block out, and probably start over there on the firewall, get that all done. All right, so we're back. You see, get a little bit better look at the bracket welded in a little bit better than what the factory did. So if I have to maneuver it a little bit, I can take it and hit it with a hammer. The 4-speed hump is welded in. I went ahead and welded it all the way around. That way it's nice and sealed. All right, so I got the center console pulled out of the way. I got the engine and transmission out of the way. I need to do some sanding over here. I want to get an idea of where that patch is. I know it goes about right there. I can see the line of it. Kind of wiggles down, and it goes to the bottom edge, I know for sure. And it goes around the hump area here. It goes up about right there in the camera. And then I think it kind of does that. I'm going to try to weld it in better, but I need to see how this side is to figure out how I want to do it. I do have a spare one if I just need to restart doing it. But I think that's going to be good enough. They did braze it, so that's going to make things a little bit more difficult, I think. But should be all right. So yeah, I'm going to get started on that, cleaning up this side, seeing what it looks like. I got an idea what the inside looks like, and see if I can get it welded up kind of nice and tightened it up. Because the big problem now, whenever the last people did it, there's these brackets, is it's tinning. That's not even the bad part of it. Oh, does it change where I can even do it now? Yeah. Another thing is it's broke loose from up here. So I'll probably have to clean this off, figure out where the spot welds are. Just make it better. And that way it's not leaking or anything. So figure I'll fix that old patch while I'm there. Get it all sealed up good.
Driving down the highway, doing 95 alone. Trying to reach you, call you, but you won't come to the phone. Remember me, said you'd be my heart's home. Guess you were biding your turn to go. Oh, I really should've known. Yeah, you switch things up, now you seem brand new to me. But was that even for? Was you playing your games? Was you really bored? No. Oh, I really should've known. They were dynamite till we hit a red light. Didn't see the signs. Oh, after all that time, it's just it for us. You don't wanna try. Thought your love was real, but it never was. No, you can't decide. Should've known. We were dynamite till we hit a red light. Didn't see the side. Oh, after all that time, this is it for us. You don't wanna try. Thought your love was real, but it never was. No, you can't decide. Writing in the margins of my mind all day, sipping herbal in the morning just to feel okay. Had a dream I was water just flowing through space, till I landed on the record that my grandma would play. Talk sweet like jazz in the park after rain. What the grass smell green and the air feels sane. Put the phone on mute, let the silence explain. I don't need much, just a book in the brain. Used to chase things that were run from me. Now I sit still, let the peace come free. Paint a verse in the sky with a loose leaf. While the moon do a dance with a soft oak tree. Let it ride, let it be what it be. Got a breeze in my chest and a thought run free. I don't rush, I don't race, I just float on 3. Got a vibe in my soul, got a life on key. Let it ride, let it breathe, let it roll like that. Got the world in my cup and the beat in the back. I don't stress, I don't fold, I just lean on facts. If the sun don't shine, I'ma still bounce back. I've been good, I've been gone, I've been lost in the loops. Got a hoodie and some headphones, walking with truths. Ain't no inches in the feed, just noise and flex. But I found God once in a vinyl set. Talk slow when I speak, let the moment stretch. Learn peace ain't found, it's a thing you protect. Yeah, I vibe like water, I change and shift. But the roots still deep like my grandma's grits. City move fast, but I drift like smoke. Let the rhythm in my chest be the way I cope. Wrote a song for the days that feel soft and broke. Where the healing don't shout, but it still got hope. Let it ride, let it be, let it be what it be. Got a breeze in my chest and a thought run free. I don't rush, I don't race, I just float on 3. Got a vibe in my soul, got a life on key. Let it ride, let it breathe, let it roll like that. Got Got the world in my cup and the beat in the back. I don't stress, I don't fold, I just lean on facts. If the sun don't shine, I'ma still bounce back. Let it ride, let it be, let it be what it be. Got a breeze in my chest and a thought run free. I don't rush, I don't race, I just float on 3. Got a vibe in my soul, got a life on key. Let it ride, let it breathe, let it roll like that. Got the world in my cup and the beat in the back. I don't stress, I don't fold, I just lean on facts. If the sun don't shine, I'ma still bounce back. Well, I saddled up my shoes, headed out at dawn. Yeah, I saddled up my shoes, headed out at dawn. Ain't no place gonna hold me when the road keep rolling on. Left my baby crying, said you can't live that way. Left my baby crying, said you can't live that way. I told her love ain't chained down, it just comes and drifts away. Yeah. Saw the sun in the distance, looked like a burning coin. Saw the sun in the distance, looked like a burning coin. Lord, I don't need no preacher, just that dust roll to join. Now I'm rolling through the valley, wind hums through my head. Yeah, I'm rolling through the valley, wind hums through my head.
Alright, so I got it all welded up and grinded down. Looks real good. That part was a little bit fun to figure out how to get in there, but I was able to use this as a grinding wheel. Probably not supposed to do that, but it worked. I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning up. I'll probably take the grinder and lightly do the inside, because that's where I started welding it from. That way, less grinding on the outside, because it's going to be more of a pain in the butt. This side, I'm still going to leave a little bit of the bead there. I just want to kind of smooth it out flat. That way, it still has a bunch of the strength there. And then do some more cleaning up. And there's a parking brake bracket down here that got bottomed out, and it got beat up pretty bad. I think I have another one that's on a piece of junk floor, so I may do that and put up some brackets on floor piece. Do a little bit of cleaning. I just have to find it, drill the spot welds, and that's all I'd have to do there. I forgot whenever the engine was in. I need to weld. I also got to find it. I need to weld the bracket, the ball clutch fork, or the clutch Z-bar bracket. I need to get that figured out. They usually mark them. It's there. I just got to vacuum this metal all up. But yeah, that turned out a lot better. It's not as tinny. I did pre-fit the the heater box. Used my dad's, same thing. It fits real good. There was one stud that still uses the other side of the firewall that I did not cut, but it lines up. It's not tinny anymore. and it, my opinion, looks better. Very happy with it. Now it's even stronger. Cause for the longest time, I didn't realize that seam was broke there. So, oh well. Uh, I'll eventually come in here and once I get everything cleaned out and do some more cleaning to the seam sealer and stuff like that. But yeah, get it all painted in and sealed up. It's coming along slowly. But I'm going to get cleaned up a little bit from this stuff. That way I'm not running around in metal and get all that metal picked up. Vacuum this up in here. And then probably get ready for the clutch fork. I'll show you guys whenever I do that. Yeah. And this little bracket down here I'll probably do. Show you guys. I don't know. That one may be more of a pain in the butt for you guys to see. Be basically just 4 plug welds. Drill it probably from the floor side since that bracket's thicker. I'll have to make sure I have a bracket first. Then I'll have to find that Z-bar bracket. I think that may be in my box over here. It's either in the box or it's inside in the box. Inside the house. Car already feels more solid too. But yeah, moving quite a bit along. Oh, and I'll probably go ahead and grind that down lightly with it. Use the actual grinder and flat disc, get it kind of grounded down a little bit. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys here in a little bit. Alright. Well, I forgot to update you guys whenever I was doing the fork. But right down there is the fork. Got it installed. There's a little notch on the frame. You want to get it kind of angled back a little bit. It's going to hit the frame on the back of that before. There's a little notch and there's an end of it right there. Maybe I can get a light, y'all. That notch is pretty much on all the EB and all that. Maybe we can actually see that notch now. Maybe. I don't really want to call it there. There's a kind of a little notch area on the frame, and then the point of that, there's an itty bitty notch underneath the bottom of it, and that kind of gets pointed in there. You have to kind of twist a little bit all the way up against the frame to get the line up there, right to the edge of that notch, and weld it in pretty much. You just kind of want it to get straight, and there's it there. Painted as best I could around it. Hopefully, I'll keep it from rusting. And here's the park brake spot welds. I cleaned them up. Got 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can tell where it hit and went caught and bumped up through the floor. It's all wadded up. Don't look like I had to bend the crap out of it just to get the parking brake cable. I got a better one right here that's on what's left of the floor. So get that off, drill those spot welds, and put it on this. Probably beat the floor back down just a little bit. That way that guides right. And get that welded back in. Just go ahead and do that while I'm here. Be a little bit better. There's also a seat thing I need to bend. I think it's on, surprisingly, the passenger side is bent. I think it's the one in question is that passenger side rear one. I think I've tried to fix it before, but it got caught on something and oh yeah, I can tell where it's bent. I need to see if I can figure out how to get that bit back in where it's more square looking like that. It's kind of like right up to it, the hole, and just bit down. I don't really want to cut that out. I can bait that back into place. The car's definitely bottomed out on some. Somebody's jacked it wrong there. A couple little things to fix. I want to fix that because I will need the parking brake with the 4-speed, so it needs to be up to snuff. And yeah, I'm going to drill that out and get that one cut out. I'll get that done real quick. Alright. Got the firewall grounded down. It's not all the way smooth, but it's not gonna know the difference. On the inside, I do see a pinhole right at this angle. Let's find that out later. Got this welded on and grounded down. Oh, got it welded on and painted on both sides before I welded it. Went ahead and kind of cleaned out the car a little bit and vacuumed it out. That way I can crawl in here and start working on the rear window area. Probably doing that tomorrow and double checking on pinholes.